Hello again, Breakers. We have Brad and Matt here. Second place was won, fortunately, by Brad over here. And I come to understand that you guys are playing Dracotail, is that right?
Yes, we're both playing pure Dracotail effectively. Both of us were X1 by the end of the tournament, so it could have been either one of us. It was just down to resistance. Very happy with the deck. Love Dracotail.
Second and third, very good return, and I think that a lot of our choices were very, very close to each other, and honestly, a lot of things performed quite strongly. So, yeah.
Excellent. And how did the deck feel?
Incredibly clean. Like honestly, like I don't think I've really bricked all day, and when I did brick, it was like situationally fine because I can make like Typhon and keep the game progressing, and then I don't know, the deck just loves me. I'll just top deck Ketu or like Lucius and just keep playing. It's great.
That's good.
Constantly options in this deck. It feels super smooth to play. When no matter what kind of end board your opponent sets up, there's always an answer somewhere in your deck that you can very easily access.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's get into the deck profile.
Let's do it.
We'll start with Drake's version.
Alright, so play 3 Lucius, 3 Mululu, Ignore, I've only got 1 Collector and 4, 3 Fomena, 2 Pan, 1 Urgler, and 1 copy of Frixel. Ali, as you saw in the last deck profile, has a bit more heavier Dracotail names. I kind of kept to this ratio just because I was pretty happy with just like 2 Pan and 1 Urgula, just because I felt as though like we're not, apart from a mirror situation, going to see a lot of back row decks, so I'd rather see like a Pan in my opening hand and disrupt my opponent on that turn, which worked out much better. Frixel's crazy, I like this card a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I wouldn't change any ratios here.
Yeah, agree. I think there's a lot of discourse about how many Pan and how many Urgula you play. I think 2 to 1 is really, really good, and then when you're playing pure, you can pump it up. It just means you have less room for high impact hand traps. So that really is the question.
And the best part about pure is just like running a bunch of hand traps to stop your opponent and then going 5-mana effect or Lucius effect and just winning. Onto like the non-Dracotail name stuff. I play 3 Cartesia. The reason I play 3 is, as opposed to just playing like 1 or 2, you play 1 in probably the branded version, you play 2 probably standardly and pure. I like 3 just because I found that this card often is like a better starter than this, just because this would not lock you into fusion, so to let you actually make like the Arthur line and still go into a Seals line, which I did a lot. Like I find the Seals end board with a Gulamel, 2 traps, have like Cartesia coming back in end phase because I wouldn't bring back the Arthur line. I'd always just keep it in the graveyard so I can grab this resource back. And honestly, I just like the card a lot. I think it's great.
The issue that this deck runs into is often not finding ways to fuse because you're playing the high account. It's those situations where you've done your turn and you're low on cards. So having extra cards that just add to the grind game and lend themselves to that ability to give you more fodder. Same reason why we've made a lot of choices in our side deck, and then this just lends itself to that strategy.
100%. So that's it for like, I guess, the main monster engine stuff. Onto the hand traps, which we play an abundance of. So 3 Ash, 3 Fua, 3 Nib, 3 Vela, 1 Magna, 2 Bell. The reason I went with this ratio was just because I felt as though these were all the best utility I kind of wanted to play in the deck. Obviously we can't play Imperm, so we play this card. This card's broken. Like I've opened more than one of this card a game, and then 5 mana, make Arthur line, add like these back, and then you just get to like veil your opponent 4 times, which just seems like cheating. These are all good. Nib sometimes I felt as though could come out. It often gets started out, but at the same time, like into a lot of decks that I versed today, like Blue Eyes, like I literally nibbed that deck because it's just a magnet for that. I played 2 Bell just because like it seems a bit silly, but I'd rather open like multiples of Ash than multiples of Bell, just because although this card does trade quite well into like the Dracotail mirror, sometimes this card doesn't feel great, high impact enough. So I played like the third, which is like the Magnamart. I just didn't see a reason not to play this card. Like you can turn it on yourself by like like having like a Veiler in grave or just something to snipe out, and then this grabs like Malulu, or it can grab like Pan if you already have access to your fusion stuff. So it's just like a good card that you can play, and you can like recur it too, so then you can keep doing it, which just seems custom.
Same logic that we discussed with the Cartesia as well. Fodder card that can also replace itself, gives you a bit of presence. It also makes Spheres lines easier. So
100%. Did you play the same? You play the same intro lineup?
Honestly, our 40 cards are exactly the same except for one choice, which is just a difference in sub engine, which which we'll get into really soon.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it, right?
Agreed.
So those are the hand traps. The next part's quite easy to go through, pretty standard stuff. 3 Ketsu, 3 Rahu, no reason to play any less of those cards. If there was more of these cards, we'd play them. 3 traps in the main, just like Ali. I felt as though like 3 traps were just great because these are all great utility cards. This card's Flames, very custom card.
Sting and Horn are pretty good, but what do we think of Flame? I think it's pretty Flame.
Pretty
right?
Flames.
Yeah,
What do you think, Dion? Pretty
I
Flames?
think it's pretty good.
They're all pretty custom.
Cards
Yeah, that's crazy.
This makes your Mitsurugi matchup so much easier because it's a very relevant deck. These two in combination feel great. Pre this card coming out, you said this card it felt awful in a Mitsurugi because like they're just tagging out. Like the only time you get value with this card is like if they make like Dynamondo or Masquerena, which you probably are just losing by that point maybe. Like it just didn't feel as great.
Also, huge shout out to Cheeseman in our game for round 5. The absolute golden resolution of Sting against the Mitsurugi Yummy deck, hitting Murakumo and the Yummy field spell in graveyard. Maximum value, and they have to dig so deep to get any of those resources back. Just feels incredible.
So good. That's it for my main. I think you played Crowley as well in your deck.
That's correct. My main deck, again, is completely identical. Only difference being the one of Crowley. So I am playing the very small Magistus package.
You're on 41 or 40?
I am on 40. The only difference is I did not main deck Sting.
Yes.
My reasoning for that is that I wanted to see the least cards that had the potential to screw me up on the top deck or in hands where I'm trying to trade for value.
For sure. Makes sense.
When you have hands where you have 2 traps and you have a few conditional cards, you get really stuck. Crowley's a monster that you can fuse off, and then when it's in grave, it's very similar to Pan in that you can constantly add it back and then make a Magistus fusion next turn on your opponent's turn. In theory, that works really well. In practice, it didn't come up as much, but I still think that there's something there in terms of the logic. So that's the reason for that.
Can't wait for Spento. Shout out to spending $1 million. Onto the extra deck. So I'll go through mine. Mine's slightly different to Matt's. Classic in the deck profiles or whatever. Here's all my tokens and shit.
Why do you have a City player in there?
Don't want to talk about it. So standard stuff for the initial stuff. So 3 Arthaline, 2 Gulamel. Yes, I need another super. Secretarian, Mysterion.
Your second super is in my deck because you threw it at me. Just by the way.
It's fine. These are all good. This card seems like the most useless, but I like actually for the Mitsurugi matchup just because you can make this card and it's actually impactful. I guess it still can do the thing against Vanquisher, but it's, that deck doesn't have a presence around here at the moment. But yeah, I wouldn't cut this card. Secretarian. I think you got to play 5 names just because like I'd hate to have a situation where I run out of targets for like Rahu or Ketsu. Ketsu probably not so much, but Rahu. It's just like these cards are great. The interesting stuff, I guess, is so I played 1 Zero, 1 Artemis for a very small Magistus package. So I didn't play Crowley just because I figured that it's actually not required to get into this card and make this card live. It's more just something you can grab off this card if you play like a heavier package like Iwas, or if you do the Invoke Kaliga thing, which was at the start of the format. This never came up, so it's just kind of like anecdotes at this point, but it's just kind of like if you have the extra space, because it's pure, you can just play it. Could be anything else, honestly, these cards. Same with Hope Harbinger, didn't make it, just had it just in case I could overlay like 2 of these if I'm not fusion locked, or I think this card is an 8. I haven't done it yet, so I wouldn't know. But these could be anything. The rest of these are all standard and I don't think need to be changed. They're all great cards. Shout out to, again, our match with Ali, who's my only loss today. He's just the Dracotail goat. But yeah, like literally it's just a game where we had the back and forth. I made Typhon, pass the turn, normal to Fua, turn them 2 into like this, Arthaline bring back Lucius, it feels crazy, but these are all standard, I think, and they're very good. Nothing needs to be changed apart from those, but they're all custom. Matt, what's your actual deck?
Yeah, look, mine lends itself to a particular choice in the side deck, but I'll quickly go through. No need to rehash. I have lost my 3rd Arthalion.
You can borrow mine.
There are 3 of this. I only played 1. I only played 1 of the Gulamel because I was trying to trim. So again, I had the Magistus stuff, and just a little shout out to future foreshadowing, I played Super Poly in my side deck. So I wanted to play things that have high value into Mitsurugi and Yummy. Being able to make a Mud Dragon to prevent targeting and also just to wipe out the odds and ends. And then Garura to, again, you're hitting monotypes, so Yummy and Mitsurugi you hit. When this goes to graveyard, you also draw a card so it replaces itself. So I had to make some concessions with the options that I played. Secretarian and Mysterian, I nearly cut this, but the matchups that you do make it is such a headache to actually play through. The two that come to mind are Mitsurugi, and yesterday I also played a Fire King matchup in which there are certain interactions where you have to summon with an activated effect. So you can get a lot of value out of this. I played Zoroa, and I also played Iwas. I did not get to make this, but this is the access I was talking about with Crowley in your graveyard. Being able to add this back, summon it with its Poplar effect, and then make an Iwas in your opponent's turn for further interruption. Also equipping this to your Zoroa, so it gains an extra negate, and it's 3,900, so it can beat over a Liga Dancer. In theory, that's quite strong. Again, in practice, it didn't end up needing it for any of my matchups. And then Philia Regis, I think when you're playing 2 Pan or more of Pan, it's a level 7 dragon, and this card's ridiculous for bouncing things to hand and hitting things that the rest of your engine doesn't normally hit. And then I played the same 4 links. Artemis becomes more important for my deck specifically because I'm searching Crowley quite often and making an SP to hit graveyard things. I didn't have to use this as much. The one time I made SP in this event was against Dion, and it was actually a misplay because I was trying to take the Murakumo out of his graveyard. It ended up being a more negative play because he could play from his deck regardless. But I would still not cut these. These are still very important to play. I don't think you need to play any more than this in my humble opinion. Cross Sheep's good. If you cut these, maybe you play Cross Sheep, but I like this 4 as a minimum.
Very good.
Excellent.
Onto the side deck. So my side deck's pretty simple. I decided to play Droll. I agree with what Ali was saying. I kind of just played this card just because I was like, expecting a bit of Rogue, and this card just Rogue Stomps. A bit of Mitsurugi too. It's like a decent trade into that. It doesn't stop them completely, but it can make their bad hands worse. And I just thought, another monster hand trap to play. 3 Tazme. I haven't played this card properly since like Orcus Striker format, so a couple years. But for once I'm actually playing this card and I love it a lot. I came up against Yummy today, one of my matchups, and it just drew me into like 2 hand traps, and I just shuffled back like an extra Fenrir I had. This card's the best card in the game. He's my goat. I love Fenrir.
You've loved him since he came out, eh?
Dude, first love. I just love this card, honestly. There's nothing more that needs to be said. The fact that I get to play this card in a deck that I really enjoy makes me very happy. Long live Fenrir. Never touch him, he's the best. That's what she said.
Damn.
I played Barrier. Probably could be anything else. Probably more hand traps. Like honestly, like this card seems mid. I can't truthfully tell you anything that it feels very impactful into, because it feels like if you're just flipping this in the mirror when you have yourself established, it's like it sometimes is like really effective. Sometimes it doesn't really do anything. This could be anything else. I don't know what it would be. Just something. Like Pro seems really great. I played 2 Pank and Callby. This could turn into a 3rd Pank. I just felt as though going 2nd, I just needed more cards that kind of trade like very efficiently into someone's board. Just because I find with this deck that card economy and trading efficiently is really important. So squeezing as much out of it as I can, I felt as though this card was like really good to play, and it's kind of like a 5-side with the Fenrir. Just like 5 really good going 2nd cards. I'd say this card going in 1st because it's also just a card economy card, but Callby, you might as well. It's just like, we don't play a lot of spell and traps in the deck. This card sometimes is just insane. I don't want to get D-shifted. No one wants to get D-shifted. Don't ever play that card. Nothing I would change here apart from a D-barriers. I don't know what to, but something. Matt, what was your side deck like?
Yeah. I'll quickly go through it. A lot of common threads. So
Good card.
3 Fenrir and Tazme. So these cards are the same exact strategy. The idea that they're cards that summon themselves and then replace themselves with more value from hand. Having constant fusion fodder is quite good. This card also preventing targeting. There's a lot of situations where that comes up specifically. I opted for 2 Meows as a different one because I wanted to be able to replace things and also punish decks that otherwise don't get interacted with. So Yummy and Mitsurugi both have value there.
I don't own this card anymore, so I didn't play it.
Very fair. I also went Droll. I encountered quite a bit of Mitsu today, but my two teammates that I played against were both on Mitsurugi packages. So being able to just fire this when I've already resolved some traps or just generally punish. I really enjoyed the one that I did against you, Dion, when I fired the Droll and it made a cold buy, so that I could then freely resolve the Fool loss and it ended up being more of a punish. So quite cool.
That's cool.
Because I played the Crowley in main, I sided this, and I really liked the idea of being able to play 3 when going first, or 1 to 2 going second, just minimizing the amount of dead cards in particular situations. Every time I resolved this card was ridiculous. So it comes to the point where I kind of want to play this more than the Horn in main deck, because this card's just constantly live, and it just does a lot. And then my big call, I played 3 Super Poly. So every time you see this card, this is a God card. This is probably the most unfair card in my particular version. The absolute endorphins that I got playing against Dion, when I had previously Malulu negated his Gallant Granite, he punished me with a Retaliating Sea on a Ketu that I decided not to resolve. I looked at his board and said, oh, 2 Earths. So
that did happen, yes.
Retaliating Sea and Gallant Granite, and then you make a Mud Dragon to insulate your Althalion.
It did lose me the game,
It was this card's custom, honestly. Like nothing to really be said.
Pretty flames.
Pretty flames. Also, Ali loves it when I play Super Poly.
Excellent. Well, is there anything you guys would change about the decks you played today?
Yeah, look, I don't think the Magistus cards until we get Spencer had as much value. They're an option. I probably am going to, moving forward, not going to grab those. The DD Crow option. I really wanted another non-once per turn hand trap. So that's
This is
definitely...
why Ollie's the goat.
Yeah. We will take you over one day, but that's fine.
For sure.
I do want to give out some shout outs. So firstly, shout out to Team Breaksword. We're a great team. We've got some very lovely people here, and I appreciate them all.
4 Breaksword members attended this event, and we all got top 8.
Yeah.
Second, third, and then
What can I say?
very, very strong challenge.
Pretty good.
Also, a huge shout out to Ali for letting us use this beautiful map that he won by beating both of us. So it feels a little bit shameful, but that's okay.
Work towards it.
Yeah, 100%.
Shout out to my family. Shout out to Card House. Shout out to Hayden Matthews. Also, I want to shout out. Shout out the world. Shout out Fenrir. Shout out Fenrir is the goat. Actually, no, massive shout out to Ali. God, I knew I was forgetting something. Every time I verse Ali, I feel like we both come away with something like really impactful in the games. And I feel like I learn a lot every time we verse. So today was really good. It was my only loss. My matchups today, like I matched a 2-0 most of my matchups, which felt really great. But then I just got rolled. So definitely a lot to take away from that. And then shout out to Matt.
Yeah, look, super quick. Manor Market is our local, so I have to shout out that one, of course. Just shout out the rest of the boys. Of course, Ali, amazing games every time. My 2 opponents, Cheeseman and Dion, those were fantastic, very cinematic games. Would have loved to have those recorded to play those out, but yeah, lots of people to thank, and yeah, it was a very good event.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good one.
See ya.